What's up, guys? Les Spellman here. Really excited to bring this speed philosophy to you. This is just 8 years of me doing trial and error plus research, and this is really fun to be able to talk about it and bring this to you. So let's get right into it. The first and most important part of this training program, if we're talking about 40-yard dashes, we're talking about anything that involves a start. We're looking at what is your stance. So whether this is a 3-point start or this is a 2-point start, there's a lot of principles that will be the same. So looking at a 3-point start, the main thing that we're looking at is the front shin angle. Okay, so that front shin angle, as I'll show you in the next video, determines your projection angle, basically how you're coming out of that stance. The back leg also needs to be loaded. So a lot of athletes look at it like this is a 1-foot start, but in truth, this is a 2-foot start. You're driving off of both feet. One principle that's going to stay the same no matter what the stance is that you want to load your ankles as much as possible, okay? Because your ankles are going to be the driver. You're going to drive through the hips, but the ankles are going to transmit the force through the ground. That's what's going to plantar flex and drive that leg all the way out. Drive that foot all the way out, and that's going to help you develop more power. So it's extremely, extremely important. In 3-point stance, the hips must be higher than the head. I see a lot of athletes where their shoulders are in line with their hips. What that does is it drives you out flat, and it's not gonna allow you to project the way you want to project. Another thing is shoulders should be right over that hand. So when you drive out, you're basically the first movement you take, you're going to drive horizontal, you're going to drive straight out. Versus if that hand is in front of where the shoulder is, athletes generally will pop up, and it's more of a quad dominant exercise. So let me show you the next video. This is Tyree Robinson from Oregon. Tyree came in at 4.86 laser time 40 and left out at a 4.48 40. So notice his front shin angle, and that's going to be essentially his projection angle where he tracks at. Boom, straight through that line. He's got full extension in the hip, the knee, and the ankle. One thing that you'll notice also here is that when he gets the toe off, this is a vertical line right here, straight up from the shoe. So he's not driving the ankle so far as that he's trying to drag it. It's right here. It's full extension of the hip, and when he gets to that point, he's ready to get to the next step. So it leads to the next one. So when we're talking about projection, posture is a massive thing. So notice a lot of athletes will come out and they'll be bending over or rounded at the spine, but notice the Safa Powell here has a completely rigid spine. And this is massive because a lot of athletes, like I said, are rolling their upper body and they think that's what they're seeing, but that is incorrect. It actually is like the same feeling as like holding a plank with your core. That's how much tension you'll have in your core. And as you extend through, it's elongating everything in your body. So it's extending the hip, you're extending the shoulder, your upper body, which I call the post in this is directly driving out. The CLM is your center of mass. Your center of mass is over your knee and over where you're going to land. You want to drive your center of mass forward. You don't want your center of mass to drive to where you're going. You want it to go past where you're going. So it's a massive thing. Then once you get to this point, you're going to notice his shin is matching his body angle. You want to drive that shin directly back into the ground. So that's not something where you want to flap open or drive out. You want to drive it directly back, basically almost trying to hit that line where you just came from, although you're going to be about a yard away from where you are. So projection, main thing is posture, okay? So you'll see this is one of my athletes. This is Carlin Isles. He is a professional rugby player and also a professional track athlete. He has a 4.18 laser time 40 under his belt and a 10.1 100 meters. He's one of the fastest athletes in the world, 25.72 miles per hour. So I think he knows kind of what he's talking about here. So notice shin matches up with the body. He drives that shin down. His body matches up with that same angle. Okay, so you see those lines progressively getting higher for the extension that he's reaching on each step. It's not knee extension, it's hip extension. Okay, next we're looking at arm action. So we're driving that arm down and back aggressively. So notice the Safapao has that arm directly vertical above his head. He's almost, I say dislocate that shoulder, driving it that far back. It's exaggerated. And the reason why is it counterbalances the forward rotation. If you don't, your body's basically going to keep rolling over, and you're not going to be able to maintain that because your body's going to fall onto the ground versus attacking the ground. This is my little sister who runs track at Oregon, beast. But you can see here she's very aggressive with her arms, driving those arms back, opening those shoulders, punching her body forward. Okay. That's something I really want to see in your guys' videos. Okay, lastly, leg action, large ranges of motion, parallel lines, which I just talked about, of the body and the shin, piston action. So that means driving up and back. There's no cycle in the piston, right? Because if I want to get to when I'm accelerating, I don't have enough time to cycle that leg. I'm trying to get back to the ground in about 0.05 seconds in the first step. So if I was able to do that with the leg cycle, then by all means do it. Most athletes cannot, and it's not even encouraged. You can't cycle the leg in 0.05 seconds back to the ground. So ideally, what you want to do is drive that knee directly forward and attack back. So that low heel recovery happens. It's not something where you're thinking, drive the heel low, touch the ground, drag the toe. It's a switch from the hip. So you're driving that knee forward, you're driving it back, and it's creating a low heel recovery because your body's coming out low, if that makes sense. Okay, so you'll see here shin angle attacking down into the ground, creating the body angle. Okay, it creates the body angle. Notice each shin angle gets higher and the body angle gets higher. The first 7 steps will all match the shin angle and the body angle. After 7, athletes begin to stand up and they get into max velocity mechanics. So it's a little bit less specific when it comes to that. And we'll get into that like transition stuff. John Ross, obviously fastest 40 of all time, 4.22. Trained with my guy Gary Cablain. Most impressive run we've ever seen. But you'll notice some of the principles here. So notice driving out, pushing the ground away. You notice his heel did not come high. His knee punched directly forward. His shin angle is matching his body angle, and he's got full extension before he hits back. Simple. This is DeAnthony Thomas, Oregon wide receiver, running back, who ran a pretty fast time, but I'll show you some things that he does wrong here. Notice how he intentionally drags those toes. It's costing him a little bit of time because of friction. But you can see there's a couple of things that he does well. Shoulders are driving back. He's driving the hip. Shin angle is matching the body angle. He's attacking that leg under his hip. A lot of great things that he does. Amazing track athlete, amazing football athlete. But he ran a 4.38-ish or 4.40, which is not great for him. Should have been a 4.2. Okay. This is Marquise Goodwin, ran a 4.27. Very, very, very impressive. So notice all those principles. Okay, low heel recovery, driving, transitioning up to top speed. All right, this is CJ over in London. My guy Jonas trains him. Another example of great horizontal projection and acceleration. CJ also runs 9.8, I believe. Yeah, 9.8 or 9.9. Notice the torso drives directly out. Shin angle matches the body angle. We call this torso torpedo. He's driving his torso directly forward. Takes an incredible amount of strength to do this. getting back to the ground under his hip, attacking the ground, pushing it away, creating a low angle of projection. This is incredibly impressive. Okay, Maurice Green, one of my favorite track athletes. He's a bigger build, kind of like me. And he was one of the world's fastest athletes at this time. Notice the horizontal projection. This is a 60. Gradually raises. Easy win. Okay, this is Odell Beckham Jr. So he does some things in this that were surprising. I thought he was a little bit faster than what he ran, but he still ran a great time. Notice that in his first step, he starts getting vertical. So he's already vertical before the 20. This could be because of his position as a receiver. He's constantly trying to get to top speed as fast as possible. But I think he could have ran a little bit faster here.